All right, in this video, we're breaking down something every IT professional needs to know: security controls. Think of security control as a defense squad for your network and data. They're the policies, technologies, and procedures that either stop an attack, detect one, or help clean up after it. Here's an example of a technical security control. You ready? All right. If a user enters their password incorrectly too many times, the account is automatically locked until an authorized system admin unlocks it. The mechanism that auto locks your account is an example of a security control. Get it? Security control help enforce the big four: confidentiality, integrity, availability, and non-repudiation. Let's take a look at how security controls are grouped. They come in two main flavors. You have security control categories and you have security control functions. Let's dive into security control categories first. The first category is managerial controls. These are oversight controls. They make decisions on what tools to use and set the guardrails for personnel to follow. Here's an example. PJ Professional IT Services security policy mandates a risk assessment must be conducted annually and signed off by the Chief Information Security Officer. The next security control category is operational control. Think of these as human power. This is security enforced by the people. Here's an example. Upon receiving the security breach alert, the security engineer began investigating the threat to determine the depth of each breach. The next security category is technical controls. With these controls, the hardware or software does the job. Here's an example. Antivirus software is installed on employee computers to block virus attacks. And the last category are physical controls. These security controls protect physical spaces. Here's an example. The door lock to the data center requires authorized employees to have a level 3 badge in order to be granted access. And that in a nutshell are security control categories. The next type of security control are called functional security controls. We're going to take a look at what those controls do. Before I do that though, I need you to have a general idea of what a firewall is. This is for my beginners. Firewalls are like digital security guards for your computer or network. They watch and inspect all the data coming in and going out, and they decide on what's safe and what's not safe. If something looks dangerous, like a hacker making an attempt or a virus, the firewall blocks it from getting through. All right, I'm going to be using firewalls in my example, so I had to make sure everybody knows what a firewall is. So, functional security controls. Let's start off with preventive security controls. These controls stop security incidents from happening. Here's an example. Firewall rules are set to block a user from accessing a suspicious website before they even connect. The next functional security control are called detective controls. These controls are made to notice and alert on incidents. Here's an example of that. The firewall detects a hacker is attempting to access a computer on the network and triggers an email alert to the security team. The next type of control are corrective control. These controls fix security incidents after the fact. Here's an example. The firewall disconnected the compromised workstation from the network because it was compromised with spyware. So those are the major ones, but there are others that I want you to note. Directive security controls. These are all about setting the rules. An example would be the company had an access control policy published on the company intranet. It listed requirements for accessing the network, such as password complexity requirements. Another control are called deterrent security controls. These are meant to discourage bad actors. An example is, before logging into a company laptop, a notice is displayed prohibiting non-employees from attempting to log in. They cite legal ramifications. The next control is compensating security controls. Think of these as stand-ins for another control, which is impossible or practical to implement, but it still gets the job done. Here's an example. Your organization uses an older system that doesn't support multi-factor authentication. But multi-factor authentication is required by your security policy or compliance framework. Instead of MFA, you implement very strong password policy and require frequent password changes. And on top of that, you add device-based access restrictions, like only allowing login from trusted company-managed devices. Here's a recap. So far we've covered security control categories, security control functions, and special types of security controls. See you in the next one.